Good morning, class. My name is Corporal Lucas Shadova, and in today's brief, we'll be covering effective listening and the leader. Reason for the brief is we're going to cover the traits and qualities that effective listeners use, and then how us as leaders can apply those traits. The overall classification for this brief is unclassified. On the agenda today, first we have the introduction for the brief, followed by discussing how empathy can be used when listening. Then we'll discuss critical thinking while listening. After that, it'll be a combination of the two, and how both of those can affect listening. Towards the end, I will summarize all the points we covered here in the brief. And then in conclusion, I'll have a time for questions, if you guys may have any. So, effective listening traits for a leader. I have three main traits. The first one being empathy, being empathetic when listening. Second one is critical thinking. Critical thinking helps with problem solving and can help you work towards solving those issues and problems that a soldier may be facing, as well as processing information as it comes in. The third trait that you can have is being approachable. Being approachable can sometimes be one of the hardest things because first you must build trust. But by combining all three of these, thinking about them when listening, you build a sense of camaraderie as well as create a healthy environment that allows soldiers to naturally form that trust with you. And by forming that trust, it shows other soldiers that you have the potential to be a good leader through your listening skills. So, how empathy affects listening. What is empathy? Empathy is the ability to understand and share feelings of another. Empathy can be a powerful tool if utilized correctly. By showing empathy, you put yourself out there. You show that you actually care or are interested in what another person is saying to you, which helps build that trust that we discussed earlier in the introduction. Building trust is one of the most important things in my mind when it comes to listening, because if somebody doesn't trust you, there's a good chance they're not going to talk to you about any kind of issues or problems they might have, or an issue or problem that they need help solving. When showing empathy, it's extremely important to remain professional as you possibly can be. You can't allow too much of your emotions to get invested in the conversation. Otherwise, you start leaning into or delving into the area of becoming a problem solver and wanting to fix every problem that comes to you. And this creates an environment where soldiers are just going to rely on you to fix their problems. Rather than seeking your help in solving their own problems, they're just going to put all the weight on you to fix the problem rather than them figure it out themselves. This is when it's possible to be too empathetic, which can lead to more problems down the line. So, moving to the next slide, using critical thinking while listening. Critical thinking is used to process information as it comes in. If you can't comprehend or understand what a person is saying to you, odds are you're going to get really lost listening to them. And this could create more issues if you try to solve some of their problems if you don't completely understand or comprehend their information. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back and possibly looking into something on your own or having to look up more information about an issue before trying to solve an issue that they may have. Another thing you have to realize is that different people have different critical thinking processes. So by exposing the problem or issue to different people or surrounding yourself with other people that want to solve the problem, you're going to get problem solving from different perspectives, which will give you a better idea on a possibly better idea and a more effective idea to solving the issue at hand. The best way that you can improve your critical thinking is going to be exposing yourself to more missions, more issues, and more problems that arise in your unit or through your day-to-day life. The more experience you have racked up, the easier it's going to be for you to help problem solve as well as to think critically and process information as it comes in. Now, just as it's possible to be too empathetic when listening, it's also possible to be too critical when thinking. If somebody comes to you with an issue or problem and you give them the shortest, bluntest response to solve the problem, that person might not be too keen on the idea of coming back and asking for help if you're just going to be short and blunt with them. They might just want somebody to listen to the problem or possibly provide them with a different perspective rather than just shoving as many answers down their throat as you can. You have to keep that in mind. So remember, it's possible to be too empathetic, but it's also possibly too critical. So, combining critical thinking and empathy. You become a leader others know they can come to when you start combining these two traits and elements. This moves into being approachable and being able to listen to soldiers when they're talking to you. When you combine critical thinking and empathy, as well as being approachable, it helps create that healthy environment that we're striving for. And creating that healthy environment will allow soldiers to somewhat flourish, because they won't feel like any problem is too big or too small, that they should just keep to themselves and try to think about their problems on their own. Being an effective listener opens up more doors for soldiers, because they know you're someone they can come to whenever there is an issue or problem or some kind of task that they don't have the answer to right now. By combining critical thinking and empathy when listening, it can also improve soldier readiness. So going back to creating that healthy environment, it makes soldiers more comfortable with the idea of approaching you if they might have an issue or problem. So by squanching that problem and being proactive, by creating a healthy environment and being approachable, you can actually handle some problems before they even arise, or you can just get rid of them completely. Not only does it improve soldier readiness, as well as show that you can be someone they can rely on, it also shows you have the competency to be a leader. And when we're talking about trying to get promotions and stuff like that, being an effective leader shows some of those higher ups. Being an effective leader and listener shows higher ups that you have the competency to take on more tasks and more jobs, thus giving you more responsibility and possibly making you look even better. So, in summary, empathy and critical thinking are important traits for a leader. By combining both the two, you become naturally more approachable from soldiers. Going back to empathy, empathy allows you to understand how a soldier feels about a problem. Makes the conversation more personable. Makes that person want to trust you more when you show that you actually care, have interest in what their problem might be. While critical thinking helps process the information and get to the quickest and easiest resolution that you can. So, like we discussed earlier, critical thinking doesn't just naturally happen. It comes from experience and exposure to a lot of different other problems that could arise throughout missions, jobs, or other objectives you might have. So exposing yourself to as much as possible will help you become a more powerful critical thinker. By combining these two, we show soldiers that you possess the competency to be a strong leader. Showing that competency also helps you become more approachable. And running back to the whole trust idea, by being an effective leader, you show soldiers that you're someone they can trust, someone they can lean on if they need help with something. And this improves soldier readiness, as well as just creates that healthy environment that we're really striving for. So now I'm going to go ahead and end the brief. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.